What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. So, what do I got going on today? Been snowing. It's kind of a crappy day out. Just got back from lunch. I got a decent size order in for 2x8s. Like 40 12 footers and 6 16 footers. And I'm trying to prep for that a little bit. I don't want to mow through all my new blades, so what I'm doing is I'm working on, as you've seen from my videos the last couple days, sharpening out some bands that I have that I've got dulled up. And right now I'm working in the shop setting. I'll show you what I got going on. Show you the DIY setter here and how accurate it is and how easy it is to use it. I mean, it's not as fast as a double, big monster setter, but it's something that anybody can put together on their own. If you want to set bands really accurately and be able to do it as you get into sawmilling without spending a shit pile of money, so you can spend your money on the mill and not on all the peripherals like a sharpener and a setter and all that stuff, because all that stuff costs money. When you think you want to go out and buy a mill, these things are important. I've talked about it in previous videos, but some of you might not have watched any of my previous videos. When you have a budget in mind of what you want to spend, and you kind of want to buy the best mill that you can for the money that you have to allocate to the mill, and then you get your mill, you're kind of like, what do I do now? Do you have a way to get logs on your mill? You'll mow through bands pretty quickly, especially if you've watched some of my other videos, just like with hitting a bunch of metal in one day. So some of the ways to cut down on those down times, if you order a mill and you get like 5 bands, those bands are going to last you maximum 10 hours of cutting, and then you're down. So then what do you do? So, some of the other videos that I've done about metal detectors, cheap, reasonable way to get a metal detector, I reviewed 2 of them. If you want to go back and look at that video, they both work, but that doesn't solve the problem. What do I do if, I detect metal and I can't find it? Most of us, like me, are going to go ahead and mill that log anyway. And then you're roaching bands. And to be honest with you, in all, all the bands I've ever bought, and that was, I think originally through Norwood, I got 10, 11 bands. So I got 2, 1, 2, I think I got 11 bands from Norwood originally. I think I got 2 boxes of 5. Now, maybe 16. A box of 10, a box of 5, and a single band that came with the mill. Those bands are all extra. So if you're allocating all your money to the mill, you got to start thinking about some of the peripherals. How am I going to get the log on the mill? How am I going to sharpen my bands? Now, what I did was I set up my sharpening system before I ever got my mill, so that I had a way to sharpen, actually multiple ways to sharpen, so that I could keep running. So what I'm doing today is I'm setting bands. I'll show you around a little bit. I've got a bunch of bands hanging from my Foley right there. Now this Foley sharpener right here, will sharpen bands also, and I have it set up to do that. It just won't do the whole gullet. It will only do the tooth face. So I've got a bunch of bands hanging there. I've got some bands hanging over under the TV over there, and I've got a band up on the setter here. Now you can, let me just go over here for a second and show you one thing. You don't need a setter. You don't need one. You can go ahead and on eBay. Now I've got a few of them in here for handsaw. Just make sure I get these in focus here. You can go on eBay and you can grab yourself a setter like this and you can set these bands. Let me just show you how that would work. You have to set up the setter, but basically, let me find a tooth that's leaning away from me like right here. You can go ahead and set this on here and pinch down on this, and that will set this tooth that way. Actually, you could do it both ways. You can go ahead and spin it around this way, so when you get your next tooth coming the other way, you can go ahead and pinch down on this, and it'll set this one this way. And you could go about it with just a cheapo setter. They're not cheapo. These are nice setters. They're antique, but they do the job. And what they do is they push the tooth over to that anvil right there. You can find these on eBay all day for not a lot of money. You can set your bands like this if you want. Will it set them perfect? It does a pretty good job. I mean, these are used for setting hand saws and really any saw blade for setting the teeth. And if I just pull one out here, like this saw right here, the set on these teeth is pretty critical. I don't know how well it's going to show up, I hope. But the set on these teeth is pretty critical, and you can set them pretty close. So those would work with this band. You could punch them over with just a punch and a hammer. I do that on some of my small back saws. You can't. I'm going to grab one and just show you. So like this distant back saw right here, when you're setting these teeth, I just do them with a punch and a hammer. They're too small to set with a setter, and that works fine too. So you could do that just to get set. Now, you're not going to get it super accurately, but you're going to get set, and having set's important, because what will happen with these bands is that they will lose set as you use them. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'll go through a few teeth here. I'm going to get you off to the side like this. So I have this little black marker over here set at 25 thousandths. I'm just going to throw my gloves on really quick. And I'll show you what happens with these bands. The set exactly between what it is, and so here's a 0. It's a raker tooth. It's actually minus 1,000, but this tooth right here, right now, is set over 18 thousandths. 18 thousandths is not enough set for a tooth. It should be half the overall set. So these are half of the overall width. I think these are 42 thousandths bands. So 21 thousandths would be just a general minimum. If you've seen any of the testing, like from Cooks and stuff like that, you kind of want more than that. It makes the band a little more forgiving, takes out a little bit more wood, and makes it so the band tracks straighter. So I go with 23 to 25. Now I'm just setting this band at 25. I'm going to set both sides exactly at 25. And I'll show you the setter here in a second, but I know that when I get to 90, that hits my 25. Perfect. So I go over, I got raker tooth, another tooth right here. This one actually is the one I just did with that manual setter, and it's overset right now. It's set at 29. And I use just one of these to take them back if I overset them. So that little setter did work. See, it took that one over to 29. Let's take a little bit of set out of it. So right now I'm at 19. And I can go to 90 thousandths. I went over just a little bit. It's actually 2 thousandths over. Now I do fix those. So just gonna pry it back over, come back up. I'm actually at 21, 2, 3. I could leave it there. Just gonna put a little bit of pressure on it. It's at 24, that's good. I'll show you the setter in a second, but I'm just trying to show you how it works. Oh, now I got that thing jammed up over there, so I need to fix that. Let me just show you what's... So I have this set up on my joinery bench, and I put a block in here to try to make this run a little better, but I put it in a bad spot, obviously, so it's not running. I think I'm gonna go ahead and maybe just set it over here and see what that'll help. I don't think it will actually. I'll leave it out for now. Just so it's not slowing the video down. So, get you back down here. Got myself 19, go to 90, 25. Got myself at 19, go to 90, 26 actually, it's fine. Within a thousandth is plenty fine. Oh, that one heavy. I could tell I went over. Now I can set the plunger. I can set the plunger so that it stops at 90. Oh, that one went over again. Only a thousandth, I'll leave it. You will see, if you get your teeth out of set, you'll see lines in your wood. Half a thousandth over. And the reason that I don't, that's half a thousandth over. The reason that I don't set the plunger to dead at 90 is because I will find that it varies during the set. 25. And what I'd rather that it push too far so I can stop on my own and have it go to 25. Perfect. Then have it stop short and I can't go far enough. I went over there. And as far as, that's actually good where it is. I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure on it. Perfect. Yep, I was just gonna say it's good. I want to set both, the most important thing, more than what the set actually is that both sides are set the same. So after I get done with one side here, I'll flip the band inside out. And then I will do the other side and do it exactly the same. And set both sides within a thousandth. That gives you really smooth cuts. And it makes the band load very evenly. And that's what I'm looking for. Now the guys at Cook's, if you listen to Mr. Cook when he does his talk, he even talks about going heavier than 25. 28, 30, he likes heavier set than, went way over there. He likes heavier set. He thinks his bands run better with heavier set. And what I've found is that depending on where that tooth is on that anvil will set it heavier light also, because it depends on where you're bending on it. So sometimes I will use that to my advantage. I went a little over there. It's only 1/1000th, I'll leave it. Because you are going to, like I said, you will knock the set out of this band little by little. So I guess, damn it, the moral of the story is that more set is better than less set. Too little set will create heat, and your bands will have trouble clearing, trouble running true. The more set, the more forgiving, the easier they're going to run true. The one downside to more set is that it tends to, that's left, right, straight, okay. This is a weird tooth here, bastard tooth. I must be at the weld. This tooth right here, I guarantee I'm at the weld. I didn't start on the weld here, so I'll guarantee I'm at the weld right now. This tooth right here is not set over. So I have a left, a right, a straight. This should be a left, a right, and a straight, and it's not. Here's a right. This one's a left. This one's a straight. I'm going to just set this one straight. Try and bend it over to 0 to be a raker tooth. Without breaking it. This one's right at the weld, -2. That would be well within inside the set. So right now it's well within the set. This one's going to be a straight tooth, yep. And then there's a right tooth. So that is the weld right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll step back just so you can see what I'm talking about. I get them. You see how the weld's marked right there with my black Sharpie? That's what happens when you get to the weld. Now, as you guys are watching this, hopefully you're taking note of what this setter looks like. Damn it. So I can tell that I'm starting to overset at 90 now, so I'm going to start to back off to like 85 when I do this. Wow, I took a lot of set out of that one. Go to 85 instead of 90. Nope, that's not enough. 87, still not enough. Looks like I'm back to 90, there's 25. So it is still sitting right at 90. But also, like I said, it depends on where you put that on the anvil as well. Perfect. Perfect. This is very, obviously, as you can see, is fairly repeatable. It's not super fast, but it's going to get my band set perfect. It's a little over. I'd rather be a little over. I set that tooth a little short. Perfect. Half a thou over. Perfect. Perfect. Good. Good. See, right around 89 is about perfect right now. Perfect. 88 on that one. Perfect. All right, so you get the gist of it. Let's see where I started. I did mark the tooth that I started on. I'm trying to see where it is if I want to go all the way around here. Yeah, it's over here. So I have about a quarter of the band to go still. So if you look up, my black tooth mark is over in there. So I still have, it's actually just to the right of the PB blaster. Let's just go and do this whole side. If you're signed on to watch 2 setting, then why not? Perfect. Perfect. I can tell by where the tooth is on the anvil how far to go. Perfect. 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 When I get to my mark here, I'll go ahead and show you the setter. Perfect. And in theory, I shouldn't even need my mark perfect because I'll get to a bunch of teeth that are already set perfect, and then I'll know when I get there I won't have to set them perfect. And actually we'll be able to see that really quick. Perfect. So it's a couple teeth away. And we'll see what they look like when we get to them. Perfect. Hey, look at that. 20. That one's 24. That was the first one that I did. Nope, there you go. That's the first one that I did, 25. Next one should be 25. Let's check it. It's 24. 25. 25. 25. So you can see that it repeats and it does a pretty good job. So what I would have to do now is flip the band inside out and do the other side, and then it's ready for sharpening. One of the reasons that you have to do this first, I'm going to show you, is when you grind on these teeth and the grinding wheel's going like this, it'll knock a burr off the back side of the tooth. And when you go to set it, that burr can be 3/4 thousandths. So that's going to knock your set off. It's going to make it look like it's set more than it is. And it's only going to be on one side of the band. So the wheel's going this way. It's going to put a burr off the back side of every one of these teeth. And then when you check them going this way, you're going to underset them 3/4 5 thousandths. And then when you go to run it, as soon as you get in the wood, that burr is going to come right off, and one entire side of your band will be off on your set. That's why you need to set first and sharpen second. So if you look at, I'll take you out of the holder here and I'll show you this setter. This is a setter that a friend of mine with a wood miser gave me. He's got a wood miser up in New Hampshire, and he doesn't do any sharpening or setting, but it came with his sawmill. You can see it's just a piece of channel, and it's got one of these little plungy thingies on the top. You can look these up on eBay. There is a number on this somewhere. Actually, it's right, there's something on the side right here. I'll show you. What does that say? I don't know what that says. A-O, I don't know what that says. Oh, it's O-E something A-C-O, I don't know. So it's a model 605 is what this plungy thing is. You can find these on eBay. So all they have is a piece of steel welded here, and then an adjustable piece here. Now you could do an adjustable piece on both sides if you don't have a welder. And then a piece here to mount the dial indicator on. So it's got a hole through it on the bottom. Now you don't need that. You could just go with, you could just do it with a magnetic base dial indicator like this. This would just stick on here. You could do it the same way with that and not use this piece and just use the channel. That magnetic base will stick on there. So to make the setter, all you need is a piece of channel. You're going to cut a piece off it. You can make these pieces out of the piece you cut off, whatever length you want. It does, you know, it only needs to be long enough for this and a dial indicator. I'll grab a tape measure off the shelf here. I'll show you how long this is just to see. So this thing right here it's 10 inches long, probably could be 11. And it's got this groove cut in it. And there are underneath, I don't know if you, let me just get underneath so you can see it. There are some set screws underneath so you can set the height of the band. It's not super critical, but if you're doing different bands, it's probably a good idea. So it looks like this will accommodate 1 1/4 in 1 1/2, and I have it adjusted up for the 1 1/4 right now. So if it was an 1 1/2 width band, you could drop it down in that further and do the same thing. But this is super accurate. You know, let me just go to a 0 tooth here really quick. Yeah, there's 0. That's 25. So this is repeatable and accurate. It's just slow compared to an auto, you know, one that, hey, say hi to Danny. One that does it, you know, with the handle and advances with a handle and sets 2 teeth at once. Obviously this is slower, but it's very customizable, and as far as cost goes, this is a fairly inexpensive way to go. You could literally use, you could buy one of these plungy things, get a piece of channel, and use a magnetic dial indicator, and then just do whatever you have lying around for that slot to get yourself a setter that is fairly, you know, pretty accurate. So that's what I'm up to. These are the bands that I have lying around that are still good, that are dull, that need to be set before they go upstairs to the sharpener. Like I said, if you haven't watched my videos, you can see the sharpener upstairs too. But I know not many people are going to have a Foley bell saw. This will do them also. But it only does the face of the tooth. It won't do the gullet. The one that I have upstairs will do the gullet too. So that's kind of what I'm up to. Just got the wood stove cooking here. My order that I'm going to start cutting, I need 38 12-foot 2x8s and 6 16s. He had some 8s on here, but he just ended up making them 16s. So I got 6 16s and 38 12-footers. I'm going to start cutting that probably tomorrow, depending on the weather. I want to cut it. Hopefully I can get the whole thing cut before the weekend. He gave me a 2-week timeline on it, but I don't want to take a chance that the weather's going to crap itself. So I'm going to try to get ahead of it and mill some of it tomorrow. I wanted to mill off, as I said in some of my other videos, I wanted to mill off some of my big logs. He gave me 11.4 minimum on length, and that's going to encompass most of my big around logs, where they're like a whole afternoon for one log. You know, stuff that's 32 around that I want to get out of my piles and use up. So I'm going to mill those off first. I'll do the 12-foot side of his order first and mill off all those big logs. So there'll be pretty much one video logs because they're going to be so big. And that's what I'm doing. So get these things set and get them upstairs to the sharpener, and onward and upward. You can see it doesn't take very much to do it. Like I also said, you know, if you are in a pinch, you know, these will work fine. These are adjustable, and you can make them, you can set one and measure it and set one and measure it until you get it right. And you can get those to where they'll set a specific amount. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this. If I set one of these, let's just take the one out that I was using. If I set one of these I find a tooth that's leaning away. Like that right there. I mean, this is fairly a simple thing. If I got one of these set up to set this over that amount right there, because I know that that's 25 thousandths and it stopped there, I could go around this band a lot faster with this than I can with that. And I really think that would be good enough. I really do. It would be faster. I wouldn't have to flip it inside out and everything. I could just go around and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I could set this up. I may even do that. I may try it and do one. And then run it through there and just see what it looks like on the dial indicator. Because this is such a simple setup right here, but it's not, in all accuracy, with the stop on this and the way that the anvil sets and everything, it's not as accurate, I don't think, as this. This stops. So if I got this set to where when I pinch this tooth over, this one's already at 25, that it stops right there. I could go around this band, literally walk to the next one, pinch it, walk to the next one, pinch it. And I think it would be close enough. I think it would be easily as close as, you know, some of the high dollar setters that I've seen, you know, like in Mr. Robert's shop and stuff like that. The Cook's ones and the ones that do the two teeth at once. If you ever watch them do one, they're constantly fiddling with it. And I think 1/2000 is fine for them. They're happy with that. I set closer than 2000s. I don't leave anything 2000s out. But I think with one of those setters right there, if I got it started right, I think no problem I can whip through this band within a couple thousandths. Probably do it a lot faster. Might be a good video to try it. Get it set up so it stops right at 25. Do the whole band, both sides, and then check it on that with the dial indicator to see where it really is and see how repeatable it came out. It's probably going to be a good video. So regardless, you know, you don't need this. You don't need a double setter. You can do it with one of these. Like I said, you can find those all over on eBay. You can buy brand new ones if you want. It's just a saw setter. Look up saw setter. It's for setting saws like that. But it will work perfectly for this. So that's kind of setting 101. If you wondering what the set does, and I think I was saying earlier, the one downside to too much set is you'll leave a lot of sawdust on your planks. The less set, the more it'll clear the sawdust, but the more heat builds up. The heat will take and stretch your bands out. As you stretch your bands out, you lose tension. As you lose tension, you'll start to get wavy, and you don't need to be dull to be, in that case, to be wavy. The other thing is, as you heat your bands up, they won't hold an edge as well. You'll wear the edge off your bands faster. You can see as you look down here, you can see the glint on the top of all these teeth. And this is what dull looks like. That tooth right there. That tooth right there with that glint on the top, that's what dull looks like. If you feel this, you know, it still feels kind of sharp, but I could tell you that if I was running this band and I had to take it off, then it wasn't cutting good. So it was definitely dull. I was having to push on it. So I try to get as much information out to you as I can because I know that the costs add up pretty quick. You know, how am I going to sharpen? How am I going to set? All those things. And you need to be able to do these things if you want to keep running. You don't want to have to buy new bands every time a band gets dull. And I have not broken a band yet. I've sharpened some of these multiple times and I have not broken one yet. So, you know, you can go pretty far with setting them and sharpening them and staying running. So that's kind of my 2 cents, my video for my snowy, rainy day outside and hanging with Danny. Danny's looking for squirrels right now. Let's see what he's doing. Hi, Danny. You looking for squirrels? You see any? See any squirrels outside? He's staring out the shop window for squirrels. He wants my attention. Right, buddy? Right? Can you sit? Oh. Can you sit down? Good boy. What a good boy. You gonna say hi to everybody? Just kind of hanging out by the wood stove and... So yeah, I found that setting this thing up on my, I used to have it upstairs, and setting it on my bench down here is just a little bit more convenient. I don't need all the in feed and out feed and sideways stuff and everything to keep it. I got to drop that down a little bit. I can see that my band's a little higher than the table right there, and drop it down, it stays a little more stable. But I don't need the huge setup to do it here. And upstairs, if I have this next to my sharpener, it takes up the whole 4x8 bench. So just hang them down here, whip through them, take them upstairs, run them through the sharpener, and they're all good. So that's it. Hit me up, comments, questions, blah, 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 blah. Sorry it gets long. It always gets long. And I just try to get out as much information as I possibly can when I'm doing this. Hey, look at that right there. So this band definitely hit nails. Piece of metal hanging off right there. See that? This band definitely cut through some nails. So that'll come off when I sharpen. But that's what it looks like when you cut through a nail. And you can see the glinting on the top of the teeth there too. So, oh, there's another one there. Ready? There's another one, I think, right. Did it just come off? No. Another one right there. Piece of metal on the tooth right there. Stuck in the tooth. So this one definitely hit a nail. Come on, get in there. Hold on, I gotta move my cup. Shouldn't have cups on my bench, that's a rule. Come on. Focus. There you go. See all the metal impregnated on the front of that tooth? That's what a nail will do to your band. There's metal on this one too. There's metal stuck on the face of that one too. Come on, focus. Yep, there's metal stuck on the face of that one too. So this one definitely cut a nail. See how the tops are knocked off the teeth. Like I said, it still feels kind of sharp, but definitely hit a nail. So we'll get her back tuned up, put her back in the wood, and go back to work and cut our 40 2x8s by 12 feet long, and cut our 6 by 16 foot long, and another order will be out the door. So that's it. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Hit me up with any questions if you want, and I hope this helps somebody. Take care.